We are coming to you from the city beautiful Chicago, Illinois, where tonight Comcast Sportsnet presents White Sox baseball as Paul Konerko, Alex Rios, Adam Dunn and the Sox as they get set to butt heads with Evan Longoria and Joe Madden's Tampa Bay Rays. Hi, everybody, and welcome. With Steve Stone, I'm Ken Harrelson as we get set to bring you Game 3 of this 4-game series. As you know, the Sox have taken the first two. In fact, we've won 3 in a row. Sox won the opener 5-2 behind Chris Sale and 5-4 yesterday behind Jake Peavy, who Peavy picked up his 3rd victory of the season. So in the first 2 games, our 2 aces have shut down this Tampa Bay club.
And it's actually a reversal of form because our 1 and 2 went against their 3 and 4 in Hellickson and Hernandez. Well, now it's going to be our 3 and 4 against their 1 and 2, but that's what the big boys did. 13 2/3 innings combined, held them to a 202 batting average, just 5 earned runs, 13 strikeouts. So as you can see, 1 and 2 did the job that 1 and 2 is supposed to do. Now we'll see if we can do it with 3 and 4.
And Jeff Keppinger has a sore back. Tyler Green getting his chance, and boy, did he come through yesterday.
Tyler Green getting an opportunity to start, and he did it in a big way. He hit a home run, his first home run, his first runs driven in as a member of Chicago White Sox, had another hit to go with it. This put the Sox up at the time 4-3. They added another run, won the game 5-4. And so Tyler Green with another opportunity tonight, as Keppinger probably won't play in the series. Let's hope Tyler Green is equal to the task.
All right, sit back, relax, and strap it down. White Sox baseball coming your way.
Cellular Field, I'm Susanna Collins, just a few minutes away from the first pitch between the Sox and the Rays. Gavin Floyd taking on the Rays' best starting pitcher this season, Matt Moore, 4-0 with a 1.04 ERA, trying to become the first Rays pitcher in history to win 5 games in April. Gavin Floyd, on the other hand, winless so far in 2013, and 0-3 lifetime against the Rays. But Rob Ventura likes what he has seen from Gavin Floyd this season, especially in his most recent start last Sunday.
Yeah, it's control. It's one of those. I think he's a big, strong kid that has a lot of good pitches. So it's one of those. If he's on, he's very difficult to hit. You're hoping that he does that. He's had spurts of it. I know the record doesn't really show it, but he's had spurts of being a very good pitcher and giving you a chance to win.
Is that almost unfair expectations when he has these spurts and people expect him to do it 6 months?
I think there's all kinds of expectations up here, and the bottom line is if you get a win and you get a W. So that's what people are kind of more focused on, and instead of him thinking of that, he just has to pitch.
Stay tuned. Hawk and Steve will have the lineups and the first pitch coming your way after a quick break. Stay with us.
everything possible. And by Ford. Check out America's freshest lineup at your local Ford store or at localfordstores.com.
Welcome back, and there's a view of the skyline of our beautiful city. And we're at U.S. Cellular Field for the third of a 4-game series, the Sox having won the first 2. Robin Ventura has seen his team win 3 in a row, and they've done it by producing some runs without hitting home runs. Last night it was hitting the ball out of the ballpark 3 times. He's had terrific pitching out of the starting rotation for about 10 days now. The bullpen has been just about as good as the starters, and Joe Maddon on the other side has seen his team not hitting very much. They're 2-9 on the road. That is the worst record in the American League. Somewhat hard to explain because their pitching staff is very good, although not near as good as the Sox. The Sox overall this year, second in the league behind Texas, a staff ERA of 3.24 as you look at Gavin Floyd, who's going to start the game tonight. Tampa Bay, who's got a good rotation, has had some bullpen problems. Their ERA 3.81 as a staff. So as the White Sox take the field, let's look at how Joe Maddon's going to line up his Rays tonight. It's going to be Desmond Jennings leading off, and he's got very good speed with Matt Joyce hitting second. He hit a home run last night. Ben Zobrist, then Evan Longoria, James Loney, who had a big night last night. Shelley Duncan, the DH, with Kelly Johnson, Jose Molina, and Sam Fold rounding it out. The defense, and how they'll line up behind Gavin Floyd. Alejandro Diaz in left. Dwayne Wise still nursing a sore neck, so Jordan Danks in center field. Alex Rios is in right. Connor Gillespie at third. Alexi Ramirez at short. Tyler Green getting his second start in a row at second. Paul Konerko at first. Tyler Flowers getting the nod behind the plate. And our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Gavin Floyd. This is 5th start of the year. Last time out was by far his best performance. The curveball came to him early. He was hitting his spots and throwing pretty good cutter and a good straight change. But as you can see, still looking for his first win of the year. The umpires for the game tonight. Chris Guccione behind the plate. Tom Hallion is at first. Phil Cuzzy is at second. And Lance Barrett is at third. So the Sox come in 2.5 games in back of Kansas City. Detroit just a half game back, having won their game today. Tampa Bay, on the other hand, 6 games in back of Boston. The Red Sox, one of the surprise teams in the American League at 16-7 this year, winners of 3 in a row. The Sox have a tie for the best winning streak in the American League at 3 straight. So there's a look at young Matt Moore, who's trying to be the first Rays pitcher to ever go 5-0 in April. He's a terrific young pitcher, and the Sox will see if they can get him tonight. So they've thrown the ball around the infield. We're ready to play baseball. I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
All right, Stevie, thank you very much. And once again, good evening, everyone, and welcome to White Sox baseball right here on Comcast Sportsnet. So happy you can join us for Game 3 of this 4-game series. Desmond Jennings gets set to lead it off. He comes in hitting at .226, a couple of homers he's driven in 4 against our 30-year-old right-hander who has had good success against this ball club. He is 5-1. So the first pitch of the ball game taken outside. And reminder, it's Earth Week, and 90% of energy used during laundry is just heating water. That's just for heating water. To drastically reduce your laundry's footprint and save on bills, turn that dial to coal. Green is universal. Watch out. I think everybody's all right. So they throw him out.
Best way to make sure that Jennings, who is their top base stealer, can't steal a bag is to make sure he doesn't get on. So the head of the bat goes flying. And Jennings grounds to Ramirez, and Lexi's getting in a habit of soft tossing over to first base. Not the best habit to get into because you eventually throw the ball in the dirt and they're going to start getting away.
Here's the right fielder, Matt Joyce. Both these teams come in hitting exactly the same as the club at .229. Both of them have been having trouble offensively. Joyce 2 for 5 last night with a homer and 2 RBIs. 64 home runs in his career, 58 coming off right-handers.
And if you don't allow him to pull the ball, more than likely you're going to get him out. He is trying to pull just about everything.
That's low in here at the ballpark. 330 down the left field line, 335 down the right field line, 375 in the gaps, and 400 straightaway center.
After 3 shaky starts, Gavin Floyd last time out against Minnesota, 6 innings, 3 hits, just 1 earned run. He threw the ball exceptionally well.
Joyce 3 for 10 lifetime off Gavin. And Joyce is sitting nicely with that 3-1 count. Especially early in the ball game with a guy with a terrific curveball. And there is ball 4. Yeah, you want to try to get those guys always, especially early. Guys with good curveballs, you want to get them 2-0, 3-1.
Joyce 1 out of 2 in stolen bases. I have a feeling that they're going to try to run on the combination of Floyd and Flowers. That's a big part of the offense for Joe Madden and his Rays.
Here's Zobrist at 238, a homer. He's driven in 15. One of the big bats. You got to keep quiet. So far, our guys have done a terrific job at it. He's 0 for 9. The lifetime against Gavin, he's 5 for 16, and of the 5 hits, 2 of them stayed in the park.
Zobrist has more power from the left side, but he's a better right-hand hitter.
That curveball hit high and deep. Stay in here. Stay in here. It won't. And it's 2-0 quickly for Tampa Bay.
Second home run of the year. Zobrist has now driven in 17. And our forward home run replay is a rolling curveball. As you can see, doesn't do very much except leave the yard. So last night, this team jumped ahead 3-0, only to see our boys roar back. They're going to have to do it again tonight.
Well, they got a tough left-hander out there on the mound. He's 4-0 with a 1.04 ERA. In fact, he's the first pitcher in Rays history to win his first 4 starts. Longoria can't get it. That ball hit hard into right field. We got a man there. 2 down. That'll bring up the first baseman, who's 4 for 5 in this series, and there's not a duck snort involved in there. They have all been hit right on the sweet meat.
He's also hit the ball all over, and that's been really the trademark of James Loney, especially in those years with the Dodgers. He does hit line drives, but he's not just a pull hitter. He can hit the ball with authority the other way.
Well, he's not a home run hitter. He's a 282 career hitter, but he drives in a lot of runs.
He only only hit 12 home runs last year, so they're not looking for a lot of power from him, but he is a great defender.
And that breaking ball very quickly, 0-2.
Last 10 games, you don't want to pitch to him with runners on.
That fastball into right center field. A little upset with himself. He didn't do more with it. Meanwhile, the rolling curveball leaves the park, and we trail it 2-0.
Green hitting second, then Rios, Dunn, Konerko at first with Ramirez, Gillespie, Flowers, and Jordan Danks playing center field and hitting ninth. The defense and on the lineup behind 23-year-old Matt Moore. It's Folt, Jennings, and Joyce left to right with Longoria, Zobrist, Johnson, and Loney. Jose Molina behind the plate. And young, hard-throwing left-hander Matt Moore on the hill. He's our Lexus Pursuing Perfection starting pitcher for the Rays. Bidding to go 5-0.
And before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours.
As you can see, 29 strikeouts in 26 innings. Last year, 175 strikeouts in 177 in the third inning.
Well, he's the last minor leaguer to have 200 strikeouts in an inning. He did that in 2010. He had 208 in 144 innings. So the first pitch to Diaz, taken low and away, and talking with future manager, former Sox player, and just terrific guy, Dave Martinez, for the game. They said, Hawk, when he spots his fastball, you can wrap it up and send it to Cooperstown.
Well, that's the big problem if he has one. His loss of release point. Now, this year, unlike last year, when he loses that release point, as you look at his pitching coach and the man Hawk was talking about, Dave Martinez, in the middle, along with Tom Foley. That's Jim Hickey, their pitching coach. Moore loses the release point, and this year he can get it back.
One of the best games we saw last year was our Chris Sale and this young man out there, Matt Moore. Boy, you're talking about a good old-fashioned country baseball game. That was it.
Two real good young left-handers.
Yeah, probably you're going to throw Gio in there. Probably maybe the best three young left-handers in baseball. The 3-1 pitch. And there's ball four, what Steve's talking about. Now that's what you're talking about.
Well, you have to take advantage of Moore when he has some control issues, because you just don't get too many hits off him. And this is an example of very good scouting and great development. He was the 8th round pick in 2007. When you get a guy that's this good in the 8th round, you're doing something. And that's what a small market team with small revenues, low attendance, that's what they have to do.
So here's Tyler Green. And if you missed that home run last night, that put us on top 4-3.
Roberto Hernandez getting one up, one of the three he gave up. And that helped decide this one.
You missed the opening. Jeff Keppinger's out with a sore back. That ball is just killed. Meanwhile, it's just a hard strike and the count 0-2.
That was a high changeup, something you probably won't see later in the game. And Moore is a fastball, curveball, changeup pitcher.
Well, off Matt Moore, that's where most of his high changeups are going, foul from the right-handed hitter, because they are really looking for the gas.
Well, last year he was able to get it up there 96, even 97 at times. This year he's been pitching comfortably 92, 93.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. They ring him up. And right now, let's check out our picks to click with 1-on-1 down. Jim Angio, our directing crew, with Konerko. Steve's going with Rios and J.J. Shearer and Ed Fernandez, all the great folks at Ditka's out in Oak Brook and downtown. We're going to go with Tyler Green. Alex Rios. Alex at 288, 6 homers, 11 knocked in. And our congratulations go out to the Bulls on some sort of a comeback in that 3 overtime game against Brooklyn.
It was an amazing game. They're sitting down 14 with a chance to go down 16. C.J. Watson with a missed dunk. Turn things around.
Yeah, that was the definitive play. The definitive play in that ball game.
Huge effort by the Bulls. They probably came over after watching a thriller.
The 2-0. Grabs the strike.
Although he has been throwing 92-93, he still has 95-96 in his pocket if he has to go there.
Well, he came up in a military family. His dad was in the Air Force. They moved to Okinawa when Matt was 6 years old. And when he was 10, they moved to Moriarty, New Mexico, where now he makes his home in Edgewood, New Mexico. Bonus hitting just 115 against him this year.
Well, you can pretty much tell by that curveball that he threw to Green. If he gets that one anywhere near the strike zone and he's got 2 strikes on you, you're probably going to be out, because that was as quick a breaking curveball as we've seen.
Good job by Molina, 37-year-old veteran receiver.
Molina wanted the curveball, and Moore's just looking in. I don't think he's going to throw it. Either that or he's not seeing the fingers very well. Visibility for the hitters right now isn't great.
Yeah, it's just a short lead. He's going, and there's a strike him out. And that ball into center field. That'll be a stolen base and an error. And Alejandro into third. First error of the year for Jose Molina.
The 2 throws Molina's made in this series haven't been good. That fastball was thrown right by Rios. And this throw comes up well short, hits the grass, and then takes the high hop. And so a chance with a breaking ball in the dirt, perhaps, to Adam.
Yeah, Kelly Johnson was trying to do what he thought was right as far as positioning of his glove when he saw the throw was going to be low, but it just went over his glove. Adam takes first pitch. Fastball strike. Adam has swung the bat well in these 2 games. 3 for 8 with a homer and 3 RBIs.
Moore has a couple of wild pitches this year. That's tops on the staff.
Yeah, in years past, you saw 20-game winners in the minor leagues. You don't see that anymore. You see guys in the minor leagues years past hit 40 home runs. You don't see that anymore.
Nope.
And you don't see guys striking out 200 in a season in the minor leagues anymore.
They don't usually give them a chance.
They don't give them a chance. That's why you don't see that. In fact, the last 20-game winner I can remember in the minor leagues was Louis Tian. I believe he won 20 games in the Pacific Coast League.
That was a while ago.
That was in the Wayback Machine.
That was a while ago. Well, let's see if Molina calls a fastball up.
Breaking ball, a good pitch to hit, and fouls it off.
It's somewhat surprising because as sharp as the ball breaks for Moore, with a man 90 feet away from scoring a run, there's a good chance to hang it. I got a feeling Molina, having seen the last one not break as sharply as Moore can do it, will probably go back to the fastball here.
Well, on a 1-2 count, That's a defensive situation for the hitter as he takes the fastball for the strike, and that'll retire the side. After one, it is 2-0 Rays.
Five of the NBA playoffs with the Bulls leading 3-1. Tune in at 5:30 for live pregame coverage as the Bulls ready for a battle in Brooklyn. Join Neil and Stacy for Bulls Nets Game 5 Monday night at 5:30 on Comcast Sportsnet.
Shelly Duncan, son of Dave, will lead it off. Shelly a little bit bigger than his dad. Shelly's 6'5", 230. He did not go.
Shelly, whose brother Chris played for the Cardinals, has played for the Yankees and the Indians, and has shown one common thread. He can hit a fastball middle in a long way.
2-0 the count. And this is what Shelly Duncan tries to do, is get the 2-0, 3-1. The two best things that a hitter's got going for him is, first of all, a count, and next of all, the batter's box. Because that's yours. You can move around anywhere you want to, and you can, for the most part, create your own strike zone. And he was looking for it, got it, pops it up, and he is hot as he carries his bat all the way down to first base with it.
In a hitter's count, when you're looking fastball and you get the fastball and it's a little above belt high and you do that with it, when you're a dead fastball hitter, that's got to steam you.
It does, especially in this culture, in the game today. Now, you wanted it there in years past because everybody was a high fastball hitter. But that was going back when the umpires had the balloons, the outside protectors. Today, Steve is right on the money right there. When it's high now, most of the time they'll just take it or pop it up or swing and miss.
That inside chest protector and setting up in the slot for the umpires created a whole couple of generations of low ball hitters. They're always low ball from the left side, but low ball right hand hitters, which didn't exist for a long time. Just the occasional guy could hit the low pitch. They all hit the high pitch.
There's a base hit on a 0-2 pitch. So Johnson's aboard, and that'll bring up Jose Molina, who was 1 for 4 last night. That was a double, coming in the top of the 9th inning to put a little fear factor in all of us.
Well, they also had to review that because it hit the yellow padding, bounced back in the field of play. Joe Madden went out. The umpires discussed it. They took a look at it. It was clearly a double. He later scored on the Joyce single, and after a walk, the strikeout of Zobrist ended it.
Takes first ball, fastball strike.
I would think after 3 straight games for Addison Reed, 3 straight saves, he's probably not going to be in this one tonight.
I hope we have a chance to make that decision.
We're going to have to come back against a mighty tough left-hander.
That's exactly right. Knocks it down, kick save, picks it up, and throws him out. 2 down.
With them pinching the middle, if that ball goes through, it's going to be a double play. But Gavin knocked it down with his back foot. And that got the out at first base, but the lead runner, Johnson, went into scoring position.
How were you on plays like that?
I didn't kick the ball, I caught it. Because
excuse me.
No, I mean, my follow through left me in a position to field the ball, and I've seen so many guys, their follow through takes them out of position to field it.
Well, that's a good point. Some guys just cannot. We had a left-hander here who was a terrific pitcher.
Britt Burns.
And I'll tell you, every time he went out there, he scared me to death. I thought he was going to get killed because he had no chance of defending himself on a line shot back through the middle.
There's another factor, is knowing where your infield is set up. If you saw the defense there, they were pinching up the middle for Molina. And so if you're pinching up the middle and you see the ball come by you and you can't get your glove on it, let it go. Molina can't run at all. Someone in the middle infield was going to make that play, turn it into 2. Now, hopefully, knocking it down with his foot is not going to come back to haunt Gavin. But just like base runners, pitchers have to know where the defense is setting up also.
Not many of them do.
No, unfortunately not.
Sam Fall, the left fielder tonight.
Now you can take a look from this angle where the infielders are.
If our monitors work, we could.
Yeah. Well, there they are. They're pinching up the middle. If this ball gets through, there's no doubt it's going to be caught.
Yeah, and for the mere fact Gavin's still out there pitching, you know it was not hit that hard.
No. But you retire Sam Fold, and all it costs you is a couple of extra pitches if you retire.
2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Sam came up as a member of the Chicago Cub organization.
That's full.
He's actually traded to Tampa Bay in a deal that sent a young promising shortstop, Hak-Ju Lee, who just tore up his knee. I talked to Joe Madden. He said this guy was going to be in the major leagues as a shortstop pretty soon, but he tore a couple of ligaments in his knee, out for the year. And a right-handed pitcher, hard thrower by the name of Chris Archer, who came over from the Cubs also in that Matt Garza deal. He is going to be in a major league rotation.
Payoff pitch. So there's the second walk issued by Gavin. The first one scored. So now that knockdown, throw him out at first, is going to cost him more than just a couple of pitches.
And you got to retire Desmond Jennings.
He grounded out. Broken bat to Alexei. Two 2-0 Tampa Bay if you're just tuning in. Here in the top of the second inning. There goes the runners. They're going to go to second base. Both of them safe. Now that play's got a chance to cost him more.
Only one look back at second base. Tyler did the best he can do, try to get the trailer, because as you can see, it's a running start by Johnson. That is a bit of a mental mistake, and Fold with good speed beats the throw. So now there's some problems here in the second.
One of the biggest problems up to now is the number of pitches.
Well, that's 30 of them. A lot in the early going, and Gavin doesn't have that curveball quite yet.
Gavin's got that habit of getting out there a little too quick, a little too far. And when he does, his arm can't catch up. And then when he does try to power through it, a lot of times it's in the dirt in the left-handed hitter's batter's box.
That's been a continuing problem for him, which is one of the reasons why Don Cooper gave him that little cutter when he doesn't have the curveball.
Blocked nicely. Well, Gavin's got the kind of stuff that every time he's going to pitch and you can't drive into the ballpark, at least it is with me, I think he's going to win. And yet, as you just talked about, a lot of times if you don't get him, if you don't get him early, you might not get him, but he has trouble early on because that curveball is just not there.
And the fact that he's been doing a better job of it, but he disregarded Johnson at second.
That's popped up right side, and that's playable. So it cost him quite a few pitches by not letting the ball go through and turn into double play, but they don't score, and after an inning and a half, it's still 2-0 bad guys. Tweets with Sox in-game live only at csnchicago.com. Brought to you by Comcast Business Class.
So Paulie, one of our better fastball hitters, and hopefully he can take advantage early in the count of the Moore fastball. That Moore fan 3 in the first inning to go along with the walking of Diaza leading off the game.
Two runs, 2 hits, 1 error for them. And I certainly sympathize, empathize with all the hitters, not just our guys, on the opposition as well, for the way they have had to go to the plate in the month of April in this weather.
It's been terrible all over the league.
It's been horrible. I'll tell you, it is the last 5 years. This is the 5th year in a row we have had a horrible April. So here is Paulie.
He was geared up for that first ball fastball. It was down the middle, but he couldn't square it up.
tell you, cold weather just, for most hitters, just does not agree. There's a fastball at 93 and the count 0-2. I know in my best year, when I was with the Red Sox in April, the weather was so bad it was just like it had been here for the month. I think I hit 1 home run in the month of April. That's high.
I don't think a lot of people understand when they think about Fenway Park. They always think about how close the Green Monster is, and yet when it's cold and that wind is blowing in, it's tough to hit the ball out in left field.
The same in Wrigley.
Yeah, true.
You've pitched in that park, and you called a lot of games in that park.
You could hit a line drive over the 368, but if you got it up in the air and the wind was blowing in, it just batted it straight down.
I think it was in 1986 when we had the Crosstown Classic as Paulie fights that one off. It was so cold the day we played that exhibition game against the Cubs. I have never seen this happen in a big league game in my entire life. I watched batting practice for both teams. Not one ball left the park.
That is cold.
I have never seen that happen before or since. Paulie with 18 career home runs against Tampa Bay. And believe it or not, the first one was an inside the park.
No.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Well, if it's not true, Chris Kamka's going to catch the ball as he gets him.
It's 4 strikeouts in a row for Moore, and he threw the changeup. As you can see, these Tampa Bay pitchers all have good changes.
Yeah, this is not a guy that you want to go deep in the count to. You want to get him his first ball fastball, hopefully, if he throws it for a strike. There's that change.
And because you're so geared up for the fastball.
Well, tell them, you told the viewers last night, tell them what Madden and the philosophy is for their young pitchers.
Joe Madden says when they get a young pitcher, first of all, they force him to throw a fastball. He said these guys have good arms so they wouldn't be drafted. We encourage them to throw fastballs. Then we want each and every one to have a straight change. And then we would prefer that they threw an over-the-top curveball. He said fastball, straight change, curveball in that order. He said now, if they can't throw a curveball or if the stuff isn't real good, they'll obviously use a slider. Or if the stuff isn't good at all, they'll use the splitter. But that's out of necessity. He said, but the good arms stay good by using fastball, straight change, and curveball. And then it comes down to location. And these guys do it pretty well in their rotation.
Well, again, as he gets him, so that's 5 in a row punched out. Jim Hickey is just, I mean, he's got to be ranked up there with Coop and Mike Maddox as one of the finest pitching coaches in the game.
And the real secret is taking a look at where you got a guy from and can you make him better. Now, we know Don Cooper very well has taken guys from a lot of different places. They come here in very much of a hitter's park, and he makes them better pitchers. Jim Hickey is the same way. That, however, in Tampa Bay is a pitcher's park.
Want to know the count to Gillespie. Corner hitting at 300, a couple of homers. He's driven in 3, and watch out. He almost took a header over that railing. But Gillespie's home run in the 6th inning last night turned out to be the 5th run for us and the game winner.
He's really done a remarkable job. Second home run of the year, 3rd run batted in, and that was the difference maker.
Well, we had the G-men going last night. Gillespie, Green, and Jimenez starts his name with a G. All went deep.
And when you take a look at the lineup, you look at the home run hitters, if they tell you we're going to hit 3 and those would be the 3, you kind of bet on that.
I'd said stack it up.
Kenner swung at one out of the zone to keep the at bat alive at 3-2.
Last time the White Sox had 3 with the same letter starters of last name. Allen, Alvarez, Alvarado, and Andrews. Meanwhile, he has struck out 6 in a row. Great matchups, promotional nights, family Sundays, and post-game fireworks. So purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME.
Now, Tyler did something that I really like to see catchers do, and that's skip the throw to second base so the ball winds up in the dirt. Chris Guccione hasn't called to look at it yet. That means that Gavin is throwing with a ball that has a little scuff on it. If you know what to do with it, if you hold it away from the direction you want it to go, you can get an extra 6 inches of movement. Just one little tiny scuff on the baseball. It's a tremendous advantage if you know what you're doing with it.
Here's Matt Joyce. Joyce walked and scored back in the first. That's going foul. Minnesota beat Texas 7-2 at Target Field. Yankees beat Toronto in the Bronx 6-4.
Jabba Chamberlain was the one that saved that one. So
Jabba's throwing the ball good.
Apparently Mariano taking the day off.
I saw him the other night. He was at 95, 96.
Oh, he's got a great arm. That was never the problem, just staying healthy.
Yeah.
It was a problem for him.
He went through a period there where he was like low 90s. And the count 3-1. Don't walk him.
He'd just as soon keep this one on the outer portion of the plate, especially if he's going with the fastball.
Full count.
Seen a lot of high strikes, and that being one of them. So Chris Guccione, following the pattern of all the umpires around the league, using the top part of the strike zone.
Well, this is our 23rd game, and I can never recall the last time this has happened. Our 23rd game, and we have not had a bad umpire game behind the plate all year.
Well, the guys are doing a nice job.
And they're being consistent. At least you get an idea as a hitter because they're calling a high strike. He gone. First strikeout for Gavin.
Here's our Xfinity high-speed action replay. And it came off the bat of Ben Zobrist in the first. His second home run of the year. RBI 16 and 17, and that's the difference in this 2-0 contest.
He has been a good, solid player for this organization.
And they can use him just about anywhere, and they have.
He's amazing. I mean, you know, you don't see that kind of versatility. Okay, first base, outfield, shoot. But when you're talking about first base, second base, outfield, shortstop, third, those guys don't come along very often.
Now, since coming to Tampa, Zobrist hasn't only been a good player. At times, he's been a great player.
Well, you got to. He's been the second best player for him. Longoria, Zobrist.
Zobrist hit 27 home runs in 09, 20 the last 2 years, and in 2011 drove in 91. And he's done that twice as a member of the Rays.
Well, he's played every position on the field with the exception of catcher and pitcher. And I guarantee if you put him behind the plate, he'd probably do a decent job.
Yep. He came over from the Houston Astros.
Houston Astros in the past have made some tough decisions. And they've got some more tough decisions to make presently.
Their ball club is really struggling. 7-16. And they've got some good young minor leaguers. Will it translate into performance? Nobody knows.
Oh, hit sharply. 2 down.
But I do know one thing. Houston, if they do get a decent team, they're going to miss the National League Central moving into the American League West.
That's cold.
They're not going to face the Texas Rangers.
That's
the
cold.
Pitching of Oakland, the offense of the Angels.
Well, we know that, but that's cold to bring it up. Say it. Here's Longoria. And I want to send out a big White Sox hello and happy belated birthday to Mary Brett, 81 years young and just the biggest White Sox fan. Said thank you for winning 3 in a row on my birthday. So a little chit chat. Longoria lined out to Alex.
And it could be that something is wrong with Gavin because Tyler went out there. Gavin looks uncomfortable. And now Robin is coming out. And so, I mean, when Tyler went out, Gavin had a real serious expression on his face. And with an 0-1 count, you're wondering what he had to say. And he saw something that he didn't like. And Tyler was the first to recognize it.
Well, his last 2 out of his last 3 starts, especially the last 2, he's had a good curveball, a sharp breaking curveball, and he's thrown a lot of them.
Hector Santiago loosening up, and if anything is wrong with Gavin, and he's going to leave, so Santiago is going to be allowed as much as he wants to loosen up, and you would prefer that he come in and loosen up on the mound as opposed to the bullpen so he gets used to it.
Let's check it out one more time on his left foot now.
He lands on his heel.
I don't think that's
No,
it. No,
that's not it.
No. Got something to do with his arm. It appears that's what it is. All right, so pitching change. Hector will get as many as he needs, and we'll be back.
ERA on for the 7th time. And he gets as much as he wants to loosen up. And the one mistake that some pitchers make is they want to get loosened up in a hurry because everybody is waiting for them to get ready and throw the baseball. Last thing you want to do is not have as good a stuff as you should to a hitter as dangerous as Evan Longoria.
Well, you being in the restaurant business, I know what your MO would have been. You would have taken a long time so they could have gone and gotten more concessions.
Let them get to the concession stands, have a couple of libations, maybe a hamburger or two.
Yeah.
A hot dog, certainly. And some of the best food in any stadium in the country right here at U.S. Cellular.
And that's a nice segue. Looking for it, got it. And the count 0-2. Longoria.
Longoria hit the daylights out of one and lined out to Rios the first time up. He got a fastball.
I love his action into the pitch. One of the softest, smoothest you'll ever see. That front foot spends a lot of time in the air before he plants into the pitch.
He's also really quiet. I mean, you see a lot of guys wave the bat around, do a whole lot of things. He's really quiet where the ball comes.
He sets up his swing with his feet and his approach.
Well, the guy that you're going to really like, and we've talked about for a couple of days, Will Myers, they said is almost a carbon copy of Evan Longoria as far as the way he sets up.
There was a screwball, and that's going to be a double. So the 2-out double. That's his third 2-bagger.
That screwball down, but it had too much of the plate. And Longoria with good plate coverage takes it down the line.
Here's James Loney. Takes first pitch strike. That is 87. Detroit beat Atlanta 7-4 at Comerica Park. Papa Grande picking up a save.
His second. So with bullpen problems, especially at the tail end, they reverted to the guy they took down as their closer last year.
Yeah, I listened to some of that game coming in today. Omar Infante had a big afternoon.
B.J. Upton had a surprisingly bad play in center field on a catch he usually makes. Yeah,
he had a tough day.
Apparently that background not agreeing with him very much.
Count evens at 2. Kansas City leading Cleveland 2-0, top of the third at Kauffman Stadium. Santana on the bump for the Royals. There's a solid single. They're going to send him home with a decent, no, bad throw. I don't know. Alex is the only guy that we have seen make some good throws to nail guys when they had a chance.
He's our only outfielder consistently capable of doing it. And Santiago not throwing as hard as he usually does and getting the ball up. So we talked about the biggest danger when you get an injury coming out of the bullpen, not being quite ready to do it. And 2 batters, 2 hits, a run, and it's a 3-0 game. Loney drives in run number 10, and he continues to scald the ball.
Yeah, there's a throw right there. He had a shot at him. There's no question about that. He got to the ball quickly. Longoria wasn't even at third base yet. But if you make a mistake, you still got to make a mistake by hitting the cutoff guy if you don't get it. We have missed more cutoff guys in the first 3 weeks of this season than we did all of last year.
And with every game being a very close game, those mistakes you make eventually come back to bury you.
Well, it's cost us a couple of ball games already. There's the change. Duncan with a 2-1 count. Yeah, last year we didn't miss a cutoff man until late May or early June. That's muscled into left field. That should be a can of corn. But they pick up a run, a double by Longoria, single by Loney, and they lead it 3-0.
Preview the Blackhawks first round matchup and get you primed on their competition down the road. Blackhawks Playoff Central, Monday night at 11 on Comcast Sportsnet.
It's the bottom of the third inning and a 3-0 Tampa Bay lead. And if you're just tuning in, we'd like to tell you our offense has got to go to plan B. And the reason they've got to go to plan B is because Matt Moore walked the leadoff hitter Diaz in the bottom of the first. He stole second, went to third on an error. And then he struck out Green. Then he struck out Rios. Then he struck out Dunn. In the second inning, he struck out Konerko. He struck out Ramirez. And he struck out Gillespie. So plan B is in order.
Just get that first fastball in the zone and you can't miss it.
You're not going to beat him on his curveball. And chances are you're not going to beat him on his changeup. You better get him on his fastball.
Well, last year, Matt Moore had swings and misses on 11.8% of his pitches, which was tied for second in the American League. So for a young kid, and he's a very young kid, he will strike you out consistently. Averaged just about 9 strikeouts per 9 innings, which is usually indicative of overwhelming stuff.
And that's what you got to tell your teammates in the dugout. Hey, let's don't be trying to go deep in the count off this guy. Let's get him.
And that's this year. Hits per 9 innings, a minuscule 3.46. That's actually ridiculous.
So that'll break the 6 in a row strikeout on a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Yeah, when you get a guy like this who's having the kind of start that he's having, he's 4-0 with that 1.04 coming in, you can't try to figure out how you're going to get a base hit on him. You got to try to figure out how you can be dangerous, and there's only one way, and that's beating him on his fastball. Jordan.
He got the first ball fastball. It was up in the zone, but he fouled it straight back.
That's all right. If you're looking for it and it's not exactly a strike, you can still have a chance to get it. But this guy's a little tougher to catch upstairs. Breaking ball.
They drafted him as a very young man out of high school. But it's hard to believe with his stuff that he lasted to the 8th round. But he is 6'3", 210, so he obviously grew into this good stuff.
That breaking ball. Well, they can talk all they want about sabermetrics. They can tell all they want about numbers. The heart and soul of the game of baseball are the amateur scouts. That's the heart and soul, and I'll tell you, we are in good hands with Doug Lallman and his crew.
Well, there's many teams that do it a little better than others. And Tampa Bay has done it very well. They've been forced to because of low revenue, small market. They're not going to get the big name free agents. They're going to have to develop their own. There's a brain trust with Joe Madden in the middle, Jim Hickey and Dave Martinez. Martinez going to be a manager in the not too distant future, but so far hasn't been able to land a job.
He'll get there. He'll be a good one.
But Joe Madden does a great job of including Dave in all the decision making. He's always right next to him. He's the bench coach. But Joe just is trying to do everything he can to make him ready to go when he does get his chance.
Well, that's part of being a great manager. And believe me, that's the reason I've said for a couple of years now, Joe Madden's the best manager in baseball. And that's one of the reasons he includes his coaches. And his coaches do a terrific job. And the only way they can do that is if you include them. But they're not as bad off financially now with this new television contract. He did not go. And all 30 teams are making money. So the parity, as we can see, is growing each and every passing year. Some people are saying, for an example, that Pittsburgh club, this is the best club they've seen in the last 25 years over there.
Well, there's no doubt about that, but they don't have a great deal to choose from.
No, I know.
I mean, they've been pretty bad for a while.
Oh yeah. So I know the only place to go would be up, but boy, yeah. 2 down. So the parity is getting there because of the money. When Sealy came in, there were only like 4 clubs making money. Now 30 of them are making money.
Well, there's another factor also, and that is that you can't just go and unload on each and every draft, because now there's a system whereas you're allocated a certain amount of money to spend on your entire draft. And that really evens things out.
Well, what it does, Steve, what it does is it even heightens the importance of scouting.
Yes, very much so.
That's why the heart and soul of this game are scouts, amateur scouts.
You've said it for a long time, and I couldn't agree with you more on the middle draft.
Oh, yeah. That's the 1-2-3 inning. He's retired 9 in a row, and he leads it 3-0.
Burritos, Locos Tacos from Taco Bell. Live Mas.
And you can send us your comments on today's game through Twitter using hashtag White Sox Talk, and we'll read one back later in the game. That's our AT&T tweet of the game, and it just might be yours. Santiago. And they just announced that Stevie, Gavin Floyd left because of
a flexor muscle strain. Tough play. Gets it across, and they got him at first. And what an effort by Alexi Ramirez on a ball that was squibbed. A lot of spin on it. Alexi able to barehand throw in the same motion. And he got Johnson at first base. Wow. This is a pretty big effort right here.
You know, I'm not going to say Alexi's the best shortstop I've ever seen, because he makes some mistakes that he shouldn't make out there. But I can tell you one thing, talent-wise, he's about as good as I've ever seen.
He's got great range. When he chooses to use it, he's got an astonishingly strong arm.
He's amazing. He can make a lot of plays out there that other guys just cannot make.
Got great range on pop-ups.
And he's about as good as anybody I've ever seen going to his right in the hole with that little slide of his, getting up, and then with that gun he's got, throwing him out. Ouch.
That went right off the kneecap.
Wow. So while they look at Jose, you know, we were talking about scouting, and people forget last year we were in first place for 117 days. And we had a lead on September 18th last year. And unfortunately, we spit it out. We just could not drive in a run. But what that does show you is we did something no other team in Major League history has ever done, which Steve and I have talked about extensively.
The kids in the pen.
10 of them in one game and win the game.
That was against Kansas City in an extra inning affair. But it shows that this organization in years past perhaps didn't have a lot of good arms in their system, but
we didn't.
No, and
we didn't have the good scouting.
Last year, without those arms, without the job the bullpen did, that team wouldn't have been close to contention. And when you have young guys, and it turned out to be a double-edged sword because the young guys threw very well, but most of them had never been in a situation they were forced into in September. They never had that many appearances. They never had that many innings. They had never played under that kind of pressure. And so, although we didn't hit, and that was some of our veteran hitters, those pitchers were in deep water, had never experienced it before, and now they'll be better pitchers for that.
So and they did the job last year.
It cost us last year. They did run out of gas somewhat as the ERAs inflated the last 2.5, 3 weeks of the season. But that's absolutely to be expected because, again, if you're never there, you never know just exactly how it's going to work out for you. And for Molina, at 37 years old, most catchers have bad knees. And you take a fastball off one of those knees, and they're going to take a look at it and make sure he's okay.
So Jose Lobaton will go in. He is the switch hitting catcher. And also a reminder, it's Earth Week. Walking to work is cheap and eco-friendly. If you can't walk daily, try once a week or commute by bike. Green is universal. So one out, runner at first. And here's Sam Full. Yeah, but Buddy Bell and I, not this spring, last spring, we're getting a chuckle in some of the periodicals and some of the articles that were written about Sox had a weak farm system. And Buddy, of course, heads it up, and he said, this is funny. This is funny. Meanwhile, we had 10 of them in one game. The only time it's ever been done in Major League history. So if you're going to take 10 of your rookies or your farm system guys and bring them to the thing, you're not going to have a whole bunch.
No.
At that point in time. And there's a base hit. So hit by pitch, now the single. And here's Desmond Jennings.
And Molina is going to hobble his way down into the locker room where they can take a better look at it and give him whatever treatment he might need.
And out at the Coliseum in Oakland, A's jumped off to a 2-0 lead, but Baltimore came back and beat them 7-3. Tillman over Griffin. Markakis, Adam Jones, and McLeod all went deep in that game.
Baltimore 15-9, winners of 3 in a row. Pretty good start for a very talented crew.
Well, talented plus TWTW. Buck Showalter gave it to him.
Yeah, he came in and changed the culture there because they had lost for so long. And Buck came in, and believe me, Buck's culture changed. He's a different manager with Baltimore than he had been any place he'd ever been before. And it's paid tremendous dividends for him.
I think you hit it right on the head with Hector. Possibly not taking enough.
It just seems to me like this isn't the guy that we've seen all year hitting his spots. His stuff has been very sharp to this point. But the stuff tonight has kind of been all over the place.
Oh, Jennings is gone. Screwball.
This is the best pitch that Hector has thrown tonight. Keeping that ball low and away. Desmond Jennings, a young right-hand hitter, expanding that strike zone and going down on strikes. So for Gavin Floyd, who's a pitcher of record who left with a sore flexor muscle strain, 2 2/3 innings, a couple of runs, couple of hits, a couple of walks, and 1 strikeout.
And here's Joyce. Takes first pitch strike. He walked and scored in the first and struck out, leading off the third.
What Robin needs from Hector Santiago is a lot of innings tonight.
There's a roller that got hammered. But meanwhile, it's 0-2. Right size, wrong shape.
Joyce, who had 2 hits, including a home run last night, drives it way back and way foul.
That's one of the few rolling curveballs we've seen Hector throw this year.
He's had really good stuff each and every time out.
Yeah.
And we obviously don't know the prognosis on Gavin. But if in fact he does have to miss some time, say Santiago might be the leading candidate to take that spot in the rotation.
Well, as we talked about the last few times now, Gavin's had a terrific curveball. And that may have, and he threw a lot of them. That may have induced a little irritation in there. And he's pitched in some cold weather too.
Oh, 0-2 count with 2 outs and a man on second as Santiago delivers, and that one sweeps wide of the plate. Taylor does a nice job of making sure that doesn't get by. Joyce 0 for 1. He walked and scored ahead of the Zobrist home run in the first inning. 3-0 Tampa. Rays have 5 hits. Our Sox have none. He got him. So we'll move into the bottom of the 4th in a 3-0 game. Santiago starts him off with a fastball, strike looking. Then he hammers a breaking ball foul. Fouls it off. The count stays at 0-2 before he finally throws a ball and then strikes him out on what appeared to be a screwball. So that ends the inning, and we move to the bottom of the fourth.
Three runs, 5 hits, 1 error for their guys. No runs, no hits, no errors for our guys. He is retired the last 9 he has seen. He walked the leadoff hitter, Diaza, if you're just tuning in. Orlando stole second, went to third on a throwing error. Then he struck out the next 6 in a row.
Tyler had a big night last night, 2 for 4 with a 2-run homer.
Check swing on a breaking ball strikeout his first trip. He's just getting ready to say, I don't think he'll see another changeup because the one he hit earlier, and there it was right there, but it missed in the count 1-0.
Again, top of the strike zone fastball. And Jose Lobaton takes over behind the plate. It's a beastly evening here at the park.
Well, we talked about going to plan B, our offense. Plan C would be, of course, maybe to try to bunt on him. But when you got Evan Longoria at third base,
well, he's as good as it gets.
Well, that takes away plan C.
He does one thing that you don't see a lot of third basemen do. That is, on anybody who is capable of bunting, he will start forward with each and every pitch.
He did not go on that one. No, Longoria, I tell you, he's become one of my favorite players to watch.
Well, he actually was coming in on that pitch also, so getting started a little bit so he can move quickly one side or the other.
Yeah, that's his MO. That's the way he sets up. He comes in on every pitch. That's fouled, but I think the fastest I ever got to where a player that I just loved to watch play was George Brett, and the second fastest was Derek Jeter when they were youngsters. And this guy, I think, probably is the third among the opposition players.
Yeah, I mean, you could see it real early in his career that he was going to be a great one.
Yes, he did. 7 strikeouts. So with 1 out, that'll bring up Rios. And a reminder, you can watch the game in luxury from behind home plate in the Gold Coast Tickets Club's the seats here at the ballpark. Gold Coast Tickets. You got a guy. Of course, that's Seth Sharon and his crew do such a great job. Gold Coast Tickets. Fastball strike. Tell you another guy wouldn't take a couple more games to put in that crew right there is Bryce Harper.
Well, he's been something. I mean, we saw him, and you can make a case, well, it was early in the season and maybe the book wasn't quite as filled out as it should be, but he's kept that up since we left there.
Yeah.
He's just hit everything in sight.
That is 8 strikeouts.
Just as a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Well, our picks to click tonight, mine has struck out twice. Yours has struck out twice. Jimmy's has struck out once, but he hadn't been to the plate but once. We might just have whoever hits the ball on play to win this one.
Well, but that's deceiving because they've had good cuts. I know this guy's ERA is very low. I'm surprised he has an ERA at all. It's been really something tonight.
He was something in that game. We saw him with Chris Sale last year, and Chris outpitched him.
Moore came in with a 1.04 ERA, which has gone down. His 4 wins, tied with Hugh Darvish, 1 behind Clay Buchholz, who's won 5. But opponent's batting average coming in 116. That's gone down, and that leads the league by a wide margin.
Baseball is a game of defense, with pitching being the first line of defense. Last year in that game between Sale and Moore, Chris beat him 2-1. Adam Dunn hit a 2-run homer.
That was a 15 strikeout game for Chris.
Yeah. One of the best games we saw all season. That ball hit deep. Way back. They just look up. You can put it on the board. Yes. Yes. You can cancel a post-game show.
Fifth home run, 10th driven in. And Dunn just crushed that ball to left center field. Our Ford home run replay, it's a fastball. It caught a good deal of the plate. And the big man, who's been swinging better and better, just rode it out of the park. And this was a no-doubter.
So here's Paulie. Paulie struck out his first trip. That ball hit high, deep, stretch. No. That'll retire the side. We'll go to the 5th. It is now a 3-1 Tampa Bay lead. Oh, deficit last night. When it went to count.
Now it's up to Hector to hold him right there as he goes through the middle of the order. There's a look at the big man. Dwayne Wise sitting to his right.
That ball hit deep into right center field, but we got a man there. And Sox fans, join us on Sunday, May 12th at 7:05 as our Sox take on the Angels. Also, the first 10,000 ladies aged 14 and over will receive a White Sox Mother's Day tote presented by Lumber Liquidators. Lumber Liquidators, where you can get the best deal on a new hardwood and floor. Purchase tickets by whitesox.com or 866-SOX-GAME. Here's the waiter. He just wades into the pitch. One of the best approaches I have ever seen.
If it was the norm in your day, would you have worn that pad on your lead elbow?
I'd have worn everything that they would allow me to wear.
Just to make sure that.
I'd have worn a face mask, a helmet, knee guards.
Make sure you didn't get hurt to end the season.
I've worn some of those red hook boots. There's another base hit. Twice he has got Hector on a changeup.
Well, because he's so very rarely out in front of anything, he can take pitches that fool hitters, and he doesn't get fooled.
Well, that's because his left foot stays in the air longer as he's wading into the pitch. And that gives him the hang time. The hang time is critical. And the greatest example of that may have been Sadahara Oh, the great Chinese who was actually Taiwanese. He had that big leg kick, and Harold Baines was another good example.
Yep.
I think Harold created that hang time. That's the reason he stood way off the plate. Stan Musial, of course. God rest his soul.
Well, there's some guys that just feel unusual doing it. O was the first guy that had an exaggerated, I mean, it was almost where he lifted his leg way off the ground and just suspended it there and waited for the pitcher to throw the ball.
Well, the first American guy who did it was Mel Ott. But Sadaharo's was even more pronounced than his. The thing is the guys who get that lead foot down too quick, which is about 95% of them, they don't have any hang time. Evan Longoria's, that's the reason he hits good pitching well, because he can create hang time. It becomes natural with him.
This
Loney,
again,
that RBI single.
Yeah, we got to find some way to cool off James Loney. Because he's been right on everything this entire series.
That terrible road record that they have on worst in the American League at 2-9 coming in. It's not his fault. He's hitting .429 on the road this year.
Well, this is a pretty good team, and most likely they're going to be around come September. But right now they just got off to a very bad first road trip and extended it the first 2 games of this series.
Well, they've won 90 or more games the last 3 years, and there's no reason to suspect they won't again. Madden they've got the will to win. Where our guys are going to get it, Robbins got it. He played that way. That ball, he broke the wrong way and then could not recover. It was just a shank.
Two for 3 now for Loney. inside out swing on a screwball. And as soon as Connor went after it, after breaking toward third, pretty tough to read the ball off the bat. And he couldn't regain his footing, so first and second now, only one out. But you got a real good man for two if you can possibly get a guy with a tremendous uppercut swing to hit the ball on the ground.
That is high and deep. Piazza sets up underneath. 2 down.
There was an example of the wind that knocked down Paulie's fly ball, doing the same thing to Shelley Duncan's. The wind, which will aid the ball to right and right center, will knock it down to left. Unless, of course, you're as strong as Adam Dunn. And the Hall of Famer, who I played with when I first came to the major leagues, Willie McCovey, told me we went to Wrigley Field, the wind was howling in, must have been blowing in at 30, 40 miles an hour. And I said, boy, nobody's going to hit one out of here today. And he looked at me and said, son, when the big guys hit him, it doesn't matter which way the wind's blowing.
He's right. Stretch was right.
And we just saw Adam cut through the wind by plenty and take it out.
McCovey, one of the sweetest guys.
He was a wonderful, wonderful, he still is a wonderful man.
Yeah. Sweet, sweet person.
And as big and as long as his arms were, he had as quick a swing. He was a dead pull hitter, could pull anybody's fastball in the world.
Well, he was without question. He and Willie Stargell were the two scariest hitters that I ever had played first base against. Especially when you had a one-pitch pitcher out there. As that ball hit hard, and that's going to be a base hit. So another off-speed pitch gets hit hard, and they score again, and it's 4-1.
That screwball tonight, especially to the left-hand hitters, not doing a great deal for Hector. This is a rolling breaking ball, cutting the middle of the plate. Kelly Johnson, who's finding some new life in Tampa Bay, driving in his 7th run of the year.
Here's Lobaton making his first plate appearance. We had not heard a report on Jose Molina. He got hit squarely in a bad spot in the knee or knee area, and hopefully he will be all right. But Lobaton had a good first game. He was 2 for 2, a walk and a homer. He gone, but they put another one on the board. We're halfway home. We trail it 4-1.
And it came off the bat of Kelly Johnson in the fourth. Alexei Ramirez with the bare hand pickup and throw to first base. Just an outstanding effort. And he's able to gun him down by a step. The Avis slow motion replay.
We got some work to do. We trail it by 3. Of course, we trailed it by 3 last night as well and came back and won it 5-4. Alexei takes ball 1. He struck out his first trip. Through 4, if you're just tuning in, Matt Moore has 8 strikeouts. He gets that pitch right there over. He's going a lot more. One and 2.
He's at the 70 pitch mark, largely because he's striking most everybody out.
Just trying to protect that plate.
Looks like he's seeing a fastball that was way up and away, but
you're going to get a lot of swings like that off Matt Moore from right-handed hitters. And we understand Jose Molina has a right quad contusion, and he is day-to-day. That's good news. He has been a good player, a good catcher for many years.
Part of the Molina trifecta of Major League catchers.
Jose, Benji, and Yadier.
And Yadier, the best of the bunch. But if he catches as long as Benji and Jose, he will have done a great job.
Here it comes. That one at 94. You know, 94, there are 3 different ways to gauge a 94-mile-an-hour fastball because of the release of the pitcher. You got a 94 that's dead straight and a true 94. Then you got a 94 that doesn't look like it. It looks like it's about 90. Then you got a 94 that looks like it's about 100 because of the late movement. That's the hang Wolfham. One out.
Unfortunately, Longoria is pretty much over toward the line on just about everybody. You see how close he is? That's not the usual setup for most third basemen. But he's conceding pitches to his left, which result in singles, and taking away anything to his right, which is going to be a 2-base hit.
So here is Gillespie. You know, in most of the time, we just talked about the 3 different kind of 94 and 95 mile an hour fastballs. Most of the time, that variance is from a left-hander.
They can throw it as hard as they want, but there's no substitution for late movement.
That's it.
That'll take it off a good part of the bat. The hitter's eyes, very much like a computer, sends a signal to their hands to get the head of the bat to the spot that a 94 mile an hour fastball would necessitate, and that late movement takes it off the sweet part.
As that is in the center field. And there are times when you go to the plate and you're facing a left-hander with that late movement. And Steve's talking about that you'll swing and you just don't know how in the world you missed it. You don't know how you did not hit it hard. So here is Tyler. He's 0 for 1. He went out to center. In fact, he broke that 6-in-a-row strikeout streak by flying out. Takes ball 1. And that's out of play. Yeah, if you look at the numbers on the board, 93, 94 is the quickest I've seen one from him tonight.
And last year he was throwing 96, 97. And
but you wouldn't think that much about it. 93, 94. But again, it's that release and that late movement. He's about a foot quicker than he looks.
Well, I also believe throwing over the top, in his case, gives him a little more deception. Because there are some guys you can pick up the ball 60 feet, 6 inches away. There's other guys you pick up the ball sometimes 55 feet, sometimes 50 feet away. Those guys you just don't hit very well. And this guy, obviously, it's very difficult for hitters from either side to pick up the baseball right away because he's averaging less than 4 hits per 9 innings. I mean, nobody's hitting this guy.
Pops him up right side. That's playable. So a 1-2-3 inning for him. And he leads it 4-1.
Friend AJ Pierzynski. Tune in as Jose Quintana looks to continue his winning ways against the Rangers' Hugh Darvish. White Sox Rangers Tuesday night at 7 on Comcast Sportsnet.
Got to hold them right here, Hector. 4-8-1 for them, 1-1-0 for us. First pitch strike to Sam Fold, who has walked and singled.
Sam Fold is another guy, gives Joe Madden flexibility. He can play all 3 outfield positions. And he's quickly down 0-2 in the count.
That's a souvenir left side. Finale of this series in his homestand tomorrow. Dylan Axelrod against David Price. So make your plans to be with us.
Price, ostensibly the ace of this team, you would think, winning the Cy Young Award last year, but he has yet to win this year. The ace has been the man we're facing tonight, Matt Moore.
That's into center field. Can of corn for Jordan. So 1 out. And a reminder, you can organize a group outing of 20 or more for a Sox game during the season and receive savings off the individual game ticket price. You can enhance your outing by upgrading to our new Miller Lite bullpen party porch, pregame patio party, diamond suite, or one of our other great party areas. So call 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com And it is the domain of the Bertucci boys. They will give you some good food, some good conversation, a good time. Bobby Bruno and Handsome Anthony. Oh, and 1 to count to Jennings, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Davey Martinez, the bench coach, talking to him prior to the game, and he said, when this young man realizes how good he is, he's going to be something. Jordan way back, looks up, and it is a 5-1 ball game.
Jennings' 3rd home run. He's driven in 5. And our 4th home run replay. We talked about the wind and the direction it's carrying the ball out, and that's to right center and right field. And Jennings got it up and rode it out.
Five, 9-1 for them. 1-0 for us.
There's a young man who stole bases at a 93+% success rate last year.
Yeah, he was 31 for 33.
There's a guy, if he starts getting on consistently at the top, he's probably got 60 stolen base potential. Well, you can't say that about a lot of folks these days.
That's what Davey Martinez was talking about. When he realizes, he'll look in that mirror one day, wake up, look in that mirror, and that mirror will tell him, Desmond, you can play up here, buddy. And when that happens, you're going to see something. 2 gone. That was Paul Richards' theory. Paul Richards, former manager and general manager of Sox, Atlanta, Baltimore, Houston. Great baseball man. He said there are exceptions to every rule in baseball, which there are. He said, but for the majority of players, majority of hitters, they will struggle when they get up here. And then one day, if they put the time in and the work in and the sacrifice in, they'll wake up and they'll look in that mirror, and that mirror will say, son, you can play up here. And he was right.
Now we see some guys that start off very slowly and then become pretty good. One of them was named Willie Mays. They brought him up. He did absolutely nothing.
Right.
They stayed with him. Obviously, we know what he became. Another one, Dustin Pedroia, did absolutely nothing. And then one day, light turned on, and that was it. Is that one taken down the line? Going to wind up a 2-base hit for Ben Zobrist, who gets his 2nd extra base hit of the night. He homered in the 1st inning and doubles here in the 6th. That one on the inner portion. It's another screwball. And right by a diving Connor Gillespie.
Yeah, his screwball is not screwing tonight like it has in the past.
Not as sharp, and this raid team is making him pay the price.
Here's Longoria. He's hit 2 of them for base hits, and he's scored twice. 1 for a double, 1 for a single. He is fun to watch.
Not so much fun if you're standing out there on the mound.
No.
But from this angle, fun to watch.
I just love to watch good players play. I don't want them to beat us, but I love to watch them play. That's one of the beauties for me and for you, as long as we've been in this game, watching good players play.
We are seeing some really good young players coming into the league now.
I think it's the best crew I've seen ever coming in.
Well, both leagues have one. Mike Trout for the Angels. Bryce Harper. We talked about Bryce Harper earlier. And he's having a magnificent year with Washington.
Throws him. Can't get him. That'll be a base hit.
Third hit of the night for Longoria.
Well, I think even more than the position players where we're seeing is because Harper and Trout are taking so much of the publicity, the ink. What we're seeing too is some of the best young pitching we've seen in a long time come into baseball.
Well, we're taking a look at one right here tonight up close and personal. About ready to set an all-time Rays record of winning 5 games in April.
He leads it 5-1 here in the 6th inning. Here's Loney. He's 2 for 3. A hard single for an RBI and just an absolute duck snort, a shank for a soft single. That's the only one he's had in this series. He is now 6 for 8. And 5 of them have been bullets. But we got time.
Well, 3, 4, 5 in the batting order have done it tonight. Donnie Veal loosening up in a hurry.
In Moore's last start against the Yankees, he went 8 innings. Gave up 2 hits, 1 run. Had 9 strikeouts. So I think we'll see some guys out of their pen. Probably. He went 6 innings, 5 1/3, 6 2/3, and 8.
He's already at or exceeded the 80 pitch mark with all those strikeouts.
A little tardy on that one. And the count 1-2.
And our hitters will be very happy to see somebody out of their pen.
It don't make any difference who it is. We have 1 run on 1 hit. If you're just joining us, that was a opposite field homer, a bullet by Adam Dunn. And of course, with that home run, another generous donation to White Sox charities from Alex Snellius in loving memory of Ursula. That's into center field. But they pick up 1. We'll go to the bottom of 6. Now trailing by 4.
Highlights that matter most. Sportsnet Central. Catch the nightly news show for the Chicago sports fan. Tonight, right after postgame live on the network that's as obsessed as you are. Comcast Sportsnet.
Jordan Danks will start us off here in the bottom of the sixth. 5-11-1 for the bad guys. 1-1-0 for the good guys. Jordan hit the ball pretty sharply into center field. He's 0 for 1.
He's had some pretty good swings at the Moore fastball. Trying to catch up to one.
Got jammed right there and caught by Zobrist.
Pitch number 83 is a fastball on the inner portion. And Jordan gets it right off the hands. Nice play by Zobrist, who's not their everyday shortstop. That's Yunel Escobar, who's nursing a sore hamstring and probably won't play in this series because they have an off day Monday. Joe Madden wants to give him some rest.
First pitch strike to Diaz. Well, with the injury, especially to Reyes from Toronto, they just let a couple other teams back in the hunt because Toronto, if they're healthy, they're good. I mean, real good. But Reyes out until after the All-Star break. And you just got to figure, you just can't count Tampa Bay out. They've been one of those clubs. You count them out, and here they come. You count them out, and here they come.
The pitching and defense is normally too good to get counted out of anything.
Well, that's why it's a game of defense. That's why baseball, to me, as I've said many times, is the greatest game ever invented, because when you're playing baseball, it's not played against the clock. You can't score when you're on defense, and when you're on offense, the other team controls the ball. Get down. It will. Thank you very much. Before we'll get it back in on the little duck snort by Diaz.
This fastball inside outed. It just falls in front of Sam Fuld. Fuld, who was started at a different outfield position in all 3 games, can't get to this one.
Yeah, when you got pitching and you can catch the ball, which is the first rule in baseball, catch the ball like they do, you're going to be around. You're going to hang around.
Well, they're also competitive every year in what historically has been the toughest division in the American League. This year, the start Boston has gotten off to. They're leading 5-2 against Houston tonight. They're bidding to go 17-7. Baltimore's 15-9. The Yankees are 14-9. And then Tampa Bay and Toronto round it out. And both of those teams are pretty good, just off to slow starts.
Two 2-0 the count to Green. Tyler 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts, a couple of check swing strikeouts.
Jim Hickey on the phone calling the bullpen as Moore has delivered his 90th pitch of the night, and we're not through the 6th.
There it was, and fouls it away. That pitch right there, he just threw, reminded me of another left-hander. It was pretty good. He gave you a lot of legs, fanny, and elbows. Ron Guidry.
If he has the kind of year that Guidry had in '78 when he went 25-3 That's some year, because Ron Guidry, Louisiana Lightning.
He went 28-3.
Not that year, 25-3.
He was 3-0 in the playoffs.
Oh, well, yeah.
He was 28-3.
Untouchable pitcher. And one of the best back foot sliders you will ever see.
Yeah. The best left-handed back foot slider in the American League ever. Steve Carlton had it over in the other league.
Jake McGee warming up in the bullpen, and he's a hard-throwing left-hander out of this very productive Tampa Bay Rays system.
Get down, get down, get down, get down. It will, thank you. So a couple of little duck snorts here, yes. A couple of boops and a blast, maybe.
We're probably going to see Jim Hickey, I would assume, go to the mound to buy some time for the pen to get loose. Tyler doesn't hit this one well, but gets enough of it. And on cue, here comes Mr. Hickey. And has been their custom, everyone in the infield comes and meets at the mound.
And while they talk, a reminder, all new Family Sundays are presented by the University of Chicago Medicine Comer Children's Hospital. Tickets start as low as $5 and parking is just $10. 1983 former White Sox players will be in attendance, and activities for kids include pregame player autographs, post-game run around the bases, weather permitting. And the Sox and Comer Children's Hospital, well, they're teaming up to promote a healthy lifestyle and combat childhood obesity. So WhiteSox.com or 866-SOX-GAME for tickets. One out, two on. First inning, we have had two men on.
And Joe Maddon's going to give him Alex Rios because Dunn has hit a couple of home runs in a couple of years. Could very well be this is his last hitter.
First pitch strike, Alex. 0 for 2, a couple of strikeouts. Come on, Alex. Gave him the benefit of the doubt on that one.
Yeah, Alex thought that one actually curved around the plate. But Chris Guccione says it caught the corner. And from pitch tracks, looked like it had the outside of the outside corner.
Well, 4 of his 6 home runs this year have come from the 6th and later. Two down.
Just as we promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And here is the Miller moment. The only run of the night, a Dunn opposite field home run back in the 4th inning.
Well, I've said it before many times, and I'll say it again. If he ever get it in his mind to hit 10 or 12 home runs in the left center field, he might hit 50 for the year.
That's when he's swinging the best. Is when
exactly
he takes it
right.
that way.
Same thing with Jim Thome was here. Especially against right-handers, Jim would just crush the first pitch. Foul 0-1. Next one, foul 0-2. Then he started going the other way, and he just he wound up with
lots of them.
Well, 612 of them.
And that pickoff play at second base, just designed to take a couple of steps off the lead of Alejandro Diaz. And with the shift the way it is, it puts Zobrist in a position to get to the bag quickly.
Because when you're as strong as Gunn and Tomey, and you can hit the ball as far, Tomey probably for a left-handed hitter could hit the ball further to left field than any left-handed hitter I ever saw.
He did it a lot more than Adam does.
Yeah, and Adam, well, and he hit more for average than Dunn.
Yeah.
Because he stayed on it more. He saw the ball a little bit longer. Adam doesn't see it very far. You know, you're talking, that's how I gauge hitters. How far do they see the ball? Take a Wade Boggs or Ted Williams or Stan Musial. They saw the ball just about 60 feet. Then you take a guy like me. I was a 55-foot hitter. Adam's about a 54 here, 55-foot hitter. Tomey was about a 56-foot hitter. Paulie is probably about a 58-foot hitter.
That's pretty good, though.
Yeah, it is. That's what he needs, a good hitter.
Pretty good.
That's it. Softly. And that'll do it. We'll go to the seventh, trailing by 4. Baltimore this year has beaten Cleveland, Texas, Baltimore, and New York. And unless something happens, he's going to be 5-0.
He's got 9 strikeouts tonight, and he's been pretty much overwhelming, giving up just 1 run on 3 hits. So if you're not making contact, it's pretty tough to do much if a guy is not walking anybody. And Moore, who had some control problems last year, is not having any here this evening. So the young left-hander has shown he has overwhelming stuff. I believe that's probably going to be it for him, and they'll go to the bullpen as he's piled up the pitches with those 9 strikeouts. But let's see first if Hector can hold him right there at a 5-1 deficit.
Shelly Duncan is 0 for 3. Last time up, he just missed hitting one way out of here. High towering drive just underneath it, and that wind knocked it down. One and one to count. And a reminder, it's Earth Week. More than 75% of Americans commute by driving solo. Carpooling is eco and wallet friendlier. So grab co-workers and friends and hit the road together. Green is universal. 1-2 the count. Yanks that one foul.
If you're just joining us, Gavin Floyd had to depart this one with a flexor muscle strain in his elbow. He lasted 2 2/3, and then Hector Santiago came on, and he is eating up some innings.
Can of corn for Jordan. And that'll bring up Kelly Johnson. Wind starting to pick up.
It certainly is, Ollie. it's jacket time.
Oh, and 2 the count to Johnson.
Just a gorgeous day here, and the homestand concludes with a day game tomorrow against these same Tampa Bay Rays, with Axelrod against David Price. Should be a gorgeous afternoon. Temperatures in the high 60s. Maybe we'll touch 70.
I tell you, Kelly Johnson. He's a tough little cookie up there. He's dangerous. You make a good pitch, you get him. You make a mistake, he'll get you.
Well, they certainly like him in Tampa Bay, and they like him because they discovered that a guy who was thought of as a lifetime second baseman actually plays a better than average left field. And so again, giving Joe Madden a little more versatility with his roster when you're dealing with a short bench because you've got a big bullpen.
Well, he's already played 4 positions this year. DH, first base, second base, and left field. So when you got Johnson, you got a Zobrist.
And Fold plays all 3 outfield positions.
Yes, he does. And plays them well. Close, didn't get it. 2-2. That ball hit hard. Alex. Nope, can't get it. Now he's on his way to third, and he will get there. He's 3 for 4, picking up his first triple of the season. He is a tough little cookie up there.
That one right down the middle. And that is going to be it for Hector Santiago as Robin takes the long, slow walk. It's a good thing this one went out with some topspin on it. Otherwise, that's out of the ballpark easily. So Santiago will depart. Donnie Veal will come in, and we'll be back after these messages. who comes in at 1-0, ERA 193, on for the 11th time. As you can see, he is really a specialist. Previous 10 appearances have yielded 4 2/3 innings, and the 5 walks have been problematic. He inherits Kelly Johnson at third base and the infield in at all 4 positions.
And Jose Lobaton struck out his only appearance. He came in for Jose Molina, who had to leave because of a left quad contusion. And it's 6-1. That didn't take long. So the book on Santiago is closed at 3 2/3, 4 runs earned on 9 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts. Fold has walked, singled, and gone out to center. And there's a base hit.
We've told you that tonight is Harold Baines bobblehead night, and the fans wearing the Harold jersey from 1983, and there is the live Harold.
His head didn't bobble too much when he was hitting.
No, not to get that many hits in his career.
Harold, but it's when he got them. Harold was one of the best 7th, 8th, and 9th inning hitters I ever saw.
There is his statue.
And as a rule, when you're facing guys in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, you're facing the best they got. Because a starter, either he's having a great game, if he's still in there, or you're facing 2 pretty good relievers coming out of that pen.
And most of the time with Harold late, he was probably facing their best left-hander.
No question. He had a great approach. As there's the card, they're going to double him up. No, he threw it away. Easy double play. So that'll be the 3rd error on Alexei this year.
Didn't take his time, rushed the throw. It was an easy double play to make. Didn't turn out that way.
Yeah, he had plenty of time.
Some bad base running, but the throw pulls Tyler Green well off the bag as he dives toward the outfield but can't corral it.
As we're talking about, Alexei's one of the guys who, on an easy play, that's when he has a tendency to make an error.
You're right.
Or an easy throw.
Right.
On the tough ones, he's terrific. And all that is just you got to change his focus a little bit.
Usually the harder the baseball is hit, the better he plays it.
Yeah.
And the harder he throws to first base, the more accurate the throw is. Mm-hmm.
So that's just the 5th error in the last 14 games. We started off shaky. We had 9 in the first 9 games. But this is a good defensive ball club. Overall, when Beckham's in there, this is the best defensive ball club probably in the American League.
And for all of you Gordon Beckham fans, we're going to be talking with him in the top of the 3rd tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
We'll find out just exactly how he's progressing.
Well, you know how he's progressing. Physically, is progressing good. Mentally,
Frustratingly.
that's right. He's chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
He can't stand it.
He said the toughest thing he's had to do is sit back and watch the guys play, knowing the start he got off to. And he said he still got it in his mind, though. He can still see what he was doing right. And he said he doesn't think he's going to lose that, regardless of how long it takes to come back.
I have no doubts about him coming back, but I know how he feels. I know the longest 6 months that I ever spent in baseball, or when I broke my leg and my ankle and I had a cast on it for 6 months, that was just, it was absolutely, well, I tell you what it did. I lost my interest in playing. That's how bad it was. Ball gets away. Here comes the runner.
And the ball gets away again.
Yeah, so it's 7-1. So not a good night for us, but we have won 3 in a row. It's hard to beat a good ball club 3 in a row.
We'll take another look at it, as this is called a wild pitch. All Tampa Bay tonight to this point.
Yeah. Come back. It will. So tough inning for us, and we trail it by 6.
McGee comes into this, ERA 7.36, but 10 strikeouts in 7 1/3. However, the 5 walks have led to that high ERA. This is the most promising, or one of the most promising youngsters they have in their bullpen. McGee throws very hard, and there is Matt Moore, who is a pitcher of record with a 6-run lead, bidding for his 5th win of the year in 5 starts.
Well, he's already had Tommy John, so that's the good thing. Still throwing hard.
Throwing hard with a very tight, late-breaking curveball.
And he added 40 pounds since graduating from high school.
That's why he went to the 8th round, because at 6'3", 215, and that arm, I'm not sure you're lasting till the 8th round.
All right, let's give them a finish. We trail it 7-1 on Harold Baines bobblehead day. Pauly 0 for 2 last time up in the 4th inning. He just missed one. Got it up there and the wind knocked it down. Kept it in the park. Good rip. All over it, just underneath it. Got him. That's 10 strikeouts tonight. Matt Moore with 6 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, 1 walk, and 9 punch-outs. Here's Alexei. Get down for him. Get down for him. It will. Thank you. Sox fans, the first 20,000 fans on Saturday, May 25th, will receive a 1983 White Sox cap presented by the Private Bank. The Private Bank, the bank for business, the bank for life. Here's Gillespie, a strikeout and a fly out to center. And there's a base hit. Attaboy, Connor. Let's give him a finish.
Connor with his first hit of the night. It's a fastball. Even at 97, if it's straight, guys are going to hit it pretty hard. And I think our hitters are just happy to see Matt Moore out of the game, sitting on the bench.
You think?
Yep.
Besides our hitters, I am too.
Boy, he had overwhelming stuff tonight.
I tell you what, when he gets one of his secondary pitches, either the curve or the changeover, he's something. Yeah, if you can't get those over and he becomes a one-pitch pitcher, at least you can get him in. But if he gets either one of those things over, you got a long night in front of you.
Well, nobody's gotten him yet.
No. Fowler could not check it up. They have 2 home runs in this game. 2-run homer by Zobrist in the first. Solo shot by Jennings in the 6th. We have 1 for our run. That was by Adam Dunn, opposite field in the 4th inning. If you're just joining us, last year, Chris Sale and Moore hooked up in Probably the best game we saw all season. Adam hit a 2-run homer off of him in that one, and Chris outpitched him. We won it 2-1.
You can't catch up to that upstairs. Not at 96 or 97. As McGee, another product of their farm system, throws it right by Tyler. He's 26 years old, drafted in the 5th round of the June 2004 draft.
Well, he led 2 leagues in the minor leagues in strikeouts. That's pretty good.
It is that. I know Joe Madden thinks very highly of it. Right now, control has been an issue. But when you're that big, that strong, and throw that hard, and you're a lefty, you're going to get a lot of chances.
Pretty good rip by Jordan right there. Meanwhile, the count 0-2. Stay with him, JD. Come on, buddy. Two and two. Well, when you got Rodney down in that pen.
Last year had one of the most remarkable years in the history of closers.
Yeah, he led everybody with slugging percentage against, so to speak. And then McGee was second. Well, you touched on it the other day. A few years ago, they lost their whole bullpen, had to rebuild it, and did.
I know. And they got Fernando Rodney because control for him was always a factor. And then somehow getting with Jim Hickey, all he did last year was save 48. His ERA was 0.60 in 76 appearances. 43 hits in 74 2/3 innings. 76 strikeouts, 15 walks.
Good eye. I'm not going to say he's got the best changeup, but he had the most effective changeup, certainly, of any reliever.
Well, it works a whole lot better when you can throw 98.
Yeah.
That changeup is real effective.
Except for one time, he has always been tough on us, Rodney. That's pretty good at bat right there. Jordan, who has seen 18 pitches tonight in his 3 at-bats, gives us a shot to get right back in this thing. If Diaz can do something, now Hickey comes out.
Tomorrow's your last chance to see the White Sox before they go on the road for 8 games and 3 cities. It's Family Sunday. Tickets start at $5. Parking is only $10. We're celebrating the 1983 team. It's the 3rd time we're doing that, and the players are going to wear the 1983 uniforms. And the old catcher, Carlton Fisk, is scheduled to throw out the ceremonial first pitch. So it's going to be a beautiful day tomorrow. Come on out on the last day of this homestand.
Sacks packed with Sox. And he takes it right there at 96. That one at 95 and the count 0-2.
First one was good. Second one might have been off the corner. And Diaza a little unhappy with that call. You haven't seen too many tonight argue with the calls of Chris Guccione, however.
Well, that one was not on the plate.
Nope.
That one at 96, so he's just saying, here it is, boys. See what you can do with it.
Kyle Farnsworth throwing in the pen.
Once again, the 0-2 pitch. And that'll retire the side. He strikes out the side, and we'll go to the 8th. He is 2 for 4 with a 2-run homer and a double. Takes first pitch strike.
The entire middle of the order has been awfully tough for the Rays tonight. 7 hits came out of 3, 4, and 5.
That's into center field.
Time now for our Firestone Extra Mile Index. And the Tampa Bay Ray team has hit the ball out of the ballpark better than anybody else in baseball since April 16th.
Here's Longoria. He's 3 for 4 with a couple of runs scored. And that's in the center field. JD. 2 down. Finale tomorrow. Phil and Axelrod against David Price. So make your plans to be with us. If you can't, that game will be over WGN. Breaking ball, no. Loney is 2 for 4 with an RBI. Two and 0. No walks. Come back and get him. There's one. So the 2-out walk, and that'll bring up Shelly Duncan. Duncan 0 for 4. Fouled out to Konerko. Twice he has gone out to left. Once ball would have been out of here, and Wynn brought it back in. And he also has gone out to center. Big rip by a big man. Trying to get his thoughts together.
Having a nice conversation with himself.
Well, nothing wrong with it. Most guys do. Most hitters, more so than pitchers.
Except for Jake.
Yeah, Jake will. There's a good strike.
Jake Peavy carries on a wonderful conversation with himself. And whatever he's telling himself, it's worked exceptionally well this year.
Jake 3-1. And there's a base hit. So the 2-out walk, now the single. And that'll bring up Kelly Johnson, who is 3 for 4. Couple of singles, RBI, and a triple, and a run scored.
This one got the middle of the plate.
Yeah, Donnie's control has not been anywhere near like it was last season. And he's going to have to start showing these guys he can get the curveball over, because so far this year he has not been able to get his curveball over.
And his fastball, although it's good enough, not good enough when you're a one-pitch pitcher.
No. Not enough in the arsenal. That's a blue plate special for a hitter, a one-pitch pitcher, unless it's a Mariano Rivera. He still, every time I think about Mo, he just absolutely just amazes me. Just an absolute amazing story in baseball.
Well, Joe Girardi decided to give him the night off, something he doesn't do very often with the lead. But it was Jabba Chamberlain tonight who came on and saved the game for the Yankees.
That's into right center field, and that's going to fall. So the 2-out walk's going to come around and score, and it's 8-1.
Fourth hit of the night for Kelly Johnson, who came in hitting 193, but has had a whale of a night. This fastball inside, Johnson able to pull his hands in, not get a whole lot of it, but get enough of it.
So here's Lobaton. Lobaton is 1 for 2. A strikeout and an RBI single. And the count 2-0. And the strike. There's the fourth, and inning is over. But 2 out, nobody on. A walk, couple of hits, and we trail it by 7. Of McGee.
Maybe you take a look at the numbers. And Farnsworth, who was a closer part of the time in his career, started as a 47th round draft choice with the Chicago Cubs way back when. Joe Madden said that he's actually thrown the ball pretty well again.
And a reminder, join the 2013 Sox Pride Club, the official online fan club of the Sox baseball. For members only, ticket opportunities, game day audio for your PC, a special membership gift, and commemorative photo, as well as exclusive perks throughout the season, all for just $29.95. So visit whitesox.com. Pride Club. We trail it 8-1, 8-16-1 for them, 1-5-1 for us. Tyler Green 1 for 3 tonight. And the count 0-2.
Tyler probably going to get a start tomorrow also. as Jeff Keppinger has a little back soreness, and with the off day Monday, Rubin figures to give him tomorrow off and then automatically get the other day and see how he progresses from there.
And talking about low draft choices, White Sox drafted Kyle Long, Bears' #1 pick, back in 08 and 23rd round. He's a left-handed pitcher.
Didn't sign him, obviously.
He made the right choice.
He grew into a pretty big man.
Like his dad. Here's the 2-2. It's full. Ball 4 base hit. Get us started. Let's put a couple more points on the board. Get a little mo going for tomorrow. Washington beat Cincinnati 6-3. Bryce Harper hit his 9th homer. Is there? That a boy. Ball 4. Nats have now won 3 in a row. Dan Herron 2-3 with a 6.29, the winner. Here's Alex. Alex 0 for 3 tonight.
Cincinnati has really been scuffling.
They start off real good. Now they're 13-12. Washington 13-11. As that pitch is popped up. Zobrist. That's what amazes me about guys like Zobrist, who can play anywhere out there and have played everywhere out there with the exception of pitcher and catcher. When you're on the left side of the infield and you play for a while and you get a pop-up like that, it's got an entirely different spin than when you're on the right side of that infield.
No doubt.
Entirely just the opposite. So you make a little break here and all of a sudden you got a pretty, but he just does it like he's been out there every day.
Well, he was an everyday shortstop. That was his original position. But if you're not going to be a star, and when he got to the Rays he was anything but, he just learned that to get a spot in the lineup every day you had to be versatile.
They've got a modified shift on for Adam. Adam, who is 1 for 3, his 5th homer. Coming off Matt Moore into the left center field bleachers. Didn't take long to get there either. Faced Farmers 15 times, has 1 hit, and it left the premises. And here's our AT&T tweet of the game from BWB 2013. Dunn has had a good week. Hope it's a sign of things to come, and we're with you. BWB 2013. Our AT&T tweet of the game. Oops. Oops. Balk.
Wait. You faked the first, but the problem is in an 8-1 game there's nobody there. I'm not sure why he's even worried about Tyler Green and what he's going to do. If he'd have just bothered looking, he'd have seen that Loney was as deep as you can get at first. And Tom Hallion, the umpire, the closest to the play.
It was so bad, he just took a second to call it.
And
surprised everybody.
Kyle decided not to throw it to Hallion.
Checks it up. He did not go. Cubs beat the Marlins 3-2. Pittsburgh beat St. Louis 5-3. Pittsburgh 14-10.
And they did it tonight without Andrew McCutchen, who's their star, who hits 3rd in their lineup. They've been doing pretty good pitching. It was A.J. Burnett tonight.
Phillies beat the Mets 9-4. Minnesota beat Texas 7-2. Detroit beat Atlanta this afternoon 7-4. And there's ball 4. So 2 walks.
Matt Lindstrom and Nate Jones throwing in a pen.
In that 5-4 Yankee victory over Toronto, Travis Hafner did a lot of damage. Tied the game with a 3-run homer and then had a go-ahead triple. Ball hit hard off of Longoria. So everybody's going to be safe. That ball took a bad hop. That should be a base hit.
That slider on the outer third. Ball hits a tough one hopper. And it looks like they're going to give him a base hit.
They should. That ball took a bad hop. So Sox packed with Sox, 1 out, and here's Alexei. Yeah, when you see a guy like Longoria react like that on a hop, you know it was a bad hop.
He usually fields just about everything and turns one like that into a double play. That went off the mask of Chris Guccione. Here's our AT&T multi-view. UVerse multi-view. They're going to take a look at Guccione, who got shaken up with that. That hit right off the mask of Lobaton, right into the mask of Guccione. Joel Peralta loosening in the bullpen.
Alexei is 1 for 5 off Farnsworth, and that was a home run. There's a base hit right back through the middle. Let's give him a finish, boys.
4th run batted in of the year as Farnsworth throws a fastball right down the middle. Alexei takes it right back up the middle. And the bases remain loaded.
We're still just 1 out. And here is Gillespie, who's 1 for 3 with a sharp single. And there's a shot back through the middle. So now Dunn will score. Paulie will hold at third. And it's an 8-3 ball game. Don't stop now, boys.
I don't think Kyle Farnsworth is long for this game. Connor Gillespie with his 2nd hit of the night, his 1st run batted in and his 4th of the year. And that fastball down, rifled right back up the middle. And Lobaton goes out. They want to make sure that Peralta, who just got up a little bit ago, has had enough time to get loose.
And Chris Kamka tells us that, believe it or not, those are the first 2 hits with the bases loaded we've had all year.
That is hard to believe.
Yeah.
And Joe Madden has seen enough of Kyle Farnsworth. He's going to Peralta. So the base is still loaded, only 1 out, but now it's a 5-run game with a chance to make it interesting. So we'll step out and be back after these messages. Peralta on for the 10th time, 0-1, 2.25 ERA. Total of 8 innings. But in the last 2 years, he's appeared in more games than any pitcher in the American League. 147 of them. So he's usually a pretty busy man for this ball club. And this year, no exception. So he inherits the bases loaded. Base hit here could make it pretty interesting. And now Robin is talking something over with Chris Guccione.
Come on, Tyler, we need you, buddy. Eight, 16-1 for them, 3, 8-1 for us. Jordan Banks on deck. Breaking ball strike.
Pitch track said it had the zone. Looked to be a touch high.
Quickly 0-2.
Last pitch, a splitter that stayed up but moved in on Flowers, and he's a strikeout victim.
13 strikeouts tonight. Tampa Bay pitching. 9 of them by Matt Moore if you're just tuning in, and that was in 6 innings. Struck out the side in the first, struck out the side in the second. So here's Jordan. He's 0 for 2, but he's had 3 pretty good at bats tonight. Backdoor curveball. Make pitches like that, you're going to get out of a jam.
Well, you get calls like that, you'll get out of a jam too, as that ball never really came back to get the plate.
Yeah, Chris has had last few innings a couple of big misses. Had that one on Diaz that really hurt.
Huge difference starting off 0-1 to 1-0. But now the count evens at 1-1. I'd like to see Peralta hang one of those splitters that he's thrown, or curveballs, because the ball's been jumping out in right center field.
Checks it up. So advantage goes to Jordan.
That last pitch was a splitter, and you don't pull down on it. That's what happens. It sails on you.
Another pitch is off the plate, called a strike. This is a tough at bat for Jordan.
Well, take a look at pitch tracks. The 2 called strikes have been off the plate. The first one a little further outside than the last one.
He hadn't swung the bat, and it's 2-2. Full count.
Added advantage of the runners going.
Nice and easy, JD. About Peralta and Lobaton, they will take their time. And here we go. 2 out, sacks packed, and the 3-2 pitch. And that's ball 4. Yes. Good at bat right there by JD.
Danks has walked the last couple of times, and this time he drives in his first run of the year. So now a long ball ties it up. It's a 4-run game. Career with the bases loaded for Alejandro. Very good.
He is 1 for 3 tonight, a single and a run scored. That's high.
Well, now you split the gap, and you've got some very good speed at first base in Jordan Danks. He most likely will score.
Oh, you got a cookie right there and couldn't do anything with it.
This one outer third, he had the whole plate and just hung there for Alejandro. Fouled it back.
Well, the second straight inning he's been up there with the bases loaded. Big pitch. Way out in front.
This is one of the better splitters that Peralta's thrown. That one dives straight down.
Lays off that splitter. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Tying run at the plate. Stay fair. Just foul. Dadgummit.
That was going to score 3. But Peralta got a huge break. This one right down the line at the last instant. Hooks foul.
Mercy. Come on, Alejandro. Bow your neck, buddy. And that'll retire the side. We pick up 3. We go to the 9th trailing by 4.
One and 1, ERA 2.79. On for the 11th time. 8 strikeouts, just 2 walks in 9 2/3 innings.
So here's Sam Fuld. He is 2 for 3, a couple of singles and a walk. Fly out to center. First pitch strike. Matt Lindstrom has been very impressive
with all of his pitches.
Yeah, he's been very impressive. Eight 16-1 for them, 4 8-1 for us. Sharply down to Paulie. 1 out. And a reminder, MLB.com at bat is the #1 source for live baseball everywhere you go. Available for iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. At Bat delivers White Sox baseball with live audio, pitch tracking, stats, breaking news, and video highlights. MLB TV premium subscribers can get At Bat premium features for free and watch live games. Download At Bat now on the Apple App Store, Google Play, Kindle App Store, BlackBerry app. Just 31826. Jennings checks it up. Takes a strike in the count 0-2. He is 1 for 4, a homer, his 3rd of the season. Into the seats, right center field. Two and two the count. Good rip by Jennings. Jasmine, 26 years old.
There's their closer, Fernando Rodney. He hasn't worked in a bit, so figure even with a short turnaround in the early game tomorrow, Ed might use him to get an inning.
Here you go. 2 down. Just tuning in. Tampa Bay pitchers struck out 14 of our guys tonight. 9 of them coming by Matt Moore.
And unless we can mount a substantial rally, Moore is going to go 5-0.
Low 2-0. And once again, make your plans to be with us tomorrow afternoon. Dylan Axelrod against David Price. Finale of this homestand. We'll have Monday off before we hit the road. Going down to Texas. Take on AJ and the Wranglers. Base hit. So Joyce now 1 for 4. And that'll bring up Zobrist, who's 2 for 5 with a 2-run homer in the first inning.
That road trip is going to be 3 in Texas, all night games, then on to Kansas City. And we finish up with the New York Mets. for 2 games in New York for heading home to a very short 3-game homestand. This is going to be the White Sox first look at the New York Mets in New York ever. Amazing.
Watch out. That's foul. Thank you very much. Cobras turning and burning on it.
I would just as soon in that series not get a look at Matt Harvey. Another one of those very good young pitchers that have burst on the scene and putting together a big year.
Well, these guys today, I think the quality of pitching coaches is on the upswing. And I think the quality of the mentality of young pitching today is certainly on the upswing. And by that I mean they don't care who they're facing. They don't care who they're facing at the plate.
No.
There's no off factor involved in it. I know you had to have some off factors. I certainly did when I first got into the big leagues.
My first team had 4 Hall of Famers on it.
Yeah.
And just about every ball club we faced in the National League in those days had at least 1 and most likely 2 guys that wound up in the Hall of Fame. And so when you're facing the guys that you only read about, Roberto Clemente and Hank Aaron and Rose and Bench and Morgan and all that big red machine, yeah, there's a certain amount of off factor at first. But you did mention something earlier in the game, and that was one day you wake up, you look in the mirror, and you say, you belong here. And until that day, you're not going to excel. When that day comes, you can start expecting to win.
Well, my first 5 years in the major leagues, I absolutely stunk. I got there at an early age, and I was just overmatched. I was all mechanics, thinking about my swing. Didn't have any kind of approach, and then finally I got on the right track.
And the light went out.
And the mirror said, you can play up here. And it happened to be that night against the Chicago White Sox with Joe Horland on the mound.
Was a pretty good pitcher.
I couldn't hit him with a paddle, but for some reason I woke up and that mirror told me, young man, you belong up here. And I went to the ballpark and I was not in the lineup. Ramon Webster was in the lineup at first base, and I asked Alvin Dark to change it. That's going foul. And he said, Kenneth, he says, Joe Horland's out here on the mound. You don't hit him very well. I said, I know it, but I need to play tonight, Alvin. I said, I need to get in that lineup tonight. And this is a tough thing for a manager to do. He went and took that lineup down, put me in there. Bottom of the first inning, Horland threw me that slider low and away, and I hit a rocket right back through the mound, missed his head about 1.5 feet, 2 feet. And from there on out, I was a pretty good hitter. My first 5 years, I just stunk. And there's a base hit. Longoria, he can hit. Now it goes back to a 5-run lead, 9-4.
Fourth hit of the night for Longoria. And everyone is putting together a great offensive night for the Rays. 18 hits, something this team hasn't been doing much of. But tonight, a different story for him.
Well, Gavin Floyd, in case you're just tuning in, had to leave in the 3rd inning with a twinge in that elbow. So we will hope that it's just a twinge and that's it. And there's another base hit. And another run. And it's 10-4, and that's going to drive a few more to the exits.
Maloney his second run batted into the night.
And here's Duncan. He's 1 for 5. He's had 3 pretty good at bats among his 5. First time they have touched up Matt Lindstrom. Yeah, there's some good young pitching coming in. One and one to count.
We're going to see one of them, and you'd still consider him young in this league, although he had professional experience in Japan, and that's Hugh Darvish. What a year he's putting together for the Rangers, and we're going to see him.
The man with 7 pitches.
And
get them all
and control of every one of them.
Get them all over the plate. You can forget about the eliminating one rule on him.
As you can see, it has not been a pleasant evening.
And it has been a long, unpleasant evening. That pitch is popped up. Outfield straight up and spread out. And that'll do it. But they pick up a couple of more and they lead it 10-4.
Ramos on for the 9th time. The ERA way up there, and no reason now to even think about the closer unless a few base hits, including a home run or 2, break out here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Tyler Green will start it off. Let's give him another finish. He's 1 for 3 with a single, a walk, a run scored. One pitch. One out. Here's Alex. Takes first pitch strike. Alex 0 for 4 tonight. And there's the base hit, that a boy.
Alex took that one right back up the middle. And the only guy that could solve Matt Moore is standing in the batter's box. That home run in the fourth, the only run we were able to get against their talented young left-hander.
He's something. He's fun to watch. Unfortunately, I'd rather watch him on the highlights or against Kansas City or somebody.
Kansas City and Detroit.
Well, he's one of those guys, you know, when you come to the ballpark, you got to get your game up, and you got to have an approach. You got to have a plan, approach, and sometimes it's going to work, sometimes it doesn't. One of the constants that I learned, though, is that the better the pitcher, the more the plate you got to concede. It's like that old saying, there's never been a more comparable parallel, so to speak. In the game of baseball, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. The better the pitcher, the more the plate you got to concede. So you give that pitcher that much more, because you try to cover the plate on a good pitcher, you're going to go 0 for 4.
Yep. And Moore, although very young, 23 years old, has fallen in that category of being a very good pitcher. You could see it last year.
Yeah, it didn't take long to see him.
No.
First time we saw him, we knew it.
And he's even better this year.
One on, one out, and the 2-2 pitch. They got to go down to second base. I tell you, I haven't seen that much of Loney. And he looks like he knows what he's doing out there.
He was a good hitter with the Dodgers. He just had the disadvantage, if you can call it that, because he did start for him. But the disadvantage of being in a power position in a league that didn't have a designated hitter and not having big power. And that's one of the reasons why the Dodgers, really going for it all in expenditures, wanted to get Adrian Gonzalez.
Well, you got to get Gonzalez. I mean, if you get a chance.
Well, but the price was taking the whole Carl Crawford trade, and Crawford has started off unbelievably well this year.
He has. I mean.
And they took Josh Beckett, so they took all the money.
Ball in the right field, and when it comes down, this ball game will be over. So the Sox 3-game winning streak is snapped as the Rays come out. They put 10 runs on the board on 19 hits, and again, we're just talking about the young man who was so impressive.
Matt Moore was just unhittable tonight. We managed 3 of them in 6 innings with a run. He fanned 9, walked only 1, and that was the key. They scored early, they scored often, and too much Matt Moore.
And our GMC player of the game indeed is a 23-year-old southpaw of Edgewood, New Mexico, Matt Moore. So for my partner Steve Stone, our director Jim Angie, our producer John Walgren, our associate producer Chris Camgren, also the mayor Mean Joe Groove, our technical manager Mark Harper, for the executive producer Jim Corno Jr. up here in the booths. We got Frank D'Amato, Tom Hoover, Kelly Griffin, Frank Leone down in the truck and sound. This is the Hawk. So long, everybody. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on Comcast Sportsnet.